In 1787, a secret plot nearly strangled Sierra Leone's first free colony. Then one letter changed everything. Watch who paid for it. This is the true, little-told story of the first Sierra Leone experiment between 1787 and 92, a collision of idealism and profit that reads like a conspiracy and in many ways was one. In London, abolitionists such as Granville Sharp and other philanthropists had marshaled support to resettle hundreds of the Black Poor, beggars, former soldiers and refugees, on a small tract of West African shoreline. The aim was radical for the era, a free colony where formerly enslaved people might live outside the reach of plantation masters. They sailed in 1787 and founded the province of Freedom. Within months, the settlement teetered. Disease, hunger, and mismanagement killed scores. But that catastrophe was not only natural tragedy and logistical failure. Contemporary records and later scholarship show a far darker campaign at work. Merchants with fortunes tied to the Atlantic slave trade used every tool at their disposal, disinformation, economic pressure, and coastal collusion to undermine the experiment. Back in port cities like Liverpool and Bristol, slave trade interests lobbied Parliament, funded pamphlets, and spread stories that the settlers would bring ruin and rebellion to the African coast. Shipowners refused to provision the colony properly. Trading ships turned away from the settlers' bartering posts or demanded exorbitant prices. On the African side, factors who profited from human cargo saw danger in an organized free community that might harbor runaways or contest their commercial monopolies. Historians have found evidence that these agents cultivated ties with local chiefs, using bribes and promises to redirect trade and discourage cooperation with the new town. The effect was immediate. Medical supplies and simple bars of salt, the lifelines of a fragile outpost, were delayed or denied. Supply vessels that should have run straight to the shore anchored instead at nearby slave forts. Rumors, amplified by men who feared losing their livelihoods, became a weapon. Tales that the settlers intended to seize chiefs' lands, that they carried contagious diseases, that their presence would provoke European naval retaliation. These stories traveled by canoe and by tavern, hardening local suspicion and isolating the small settlement. Tensions exploded into violence. The province of Freedom survived only a year before collapse. Many of the original settlers died or fled. Yet the conspiracy did not end the idea. In 1791, a different cohort, Black loyalists expelled from Nova Scotia and organized with the backing of abolitionist networks, including John Clarkson acting as agent for the Sierra Leone Company, returned to the same coast. Freetown was founded in 1792, but the new town's founders arrived knowing they must defend themselves not only from disease and hostile neighbors, but against a well-financed transatlantic campaign determined to see them fail. Why go to such lengths? The answer is grimly simple: profit. The Atlantic system that fed European markets relied on a steady supply of enslaved labor. A successful free colony where formerly enslaved people could resist capture, integrate with local polities, and demonstrate a model of African-run commerce threatened to undermine both supply and the moral case that justified slavery. For merchants and their political allies, discrediting Sierra Leone was a strategic defense. In the end, the conspiracy did not entirely succeed. Freetown endured, and by the early 19th century, the moral and naval pressure that abolitionists built would erode the slave trade itself. But the first colony's collapse remains a stark lesson. The failure was not merely bad weather or disease, it was a calculated assault by interests who saw human freedom as a cost to be eliminated. Today, standing near the rocky beaches where those first settlers struggled, historians and descendants trace the outlines of that clandestine campaign. The story reminds us that the long fight to end slavery was waged not only in courtrooms and choirs, but in whispered strategies, blocked shipments, and the quiet deals made in the shadows. A conspiracy that nearly snuffed out a fragile experiment in liberty before it had a chance to breathe.